Welcome back to The Big Show. It's Alex Belfield talking to my favourite people. And of course, the only man that's worth talking to at the moment is Alfie Boe. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Alex. How are you doing, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm delicious, I'm marvellous, and all the better for talking to you because I've got this new album here. Look, listen. I've got it here, and It's called Storyteller, and it's been in my car for about the last 3 weeks, and I love it because it's so different. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thanks, that means a lot. Cheers.
We have something in common because my favourite track on the album is called Rank Strangers.
Oh, wow.
And I myself have been ranked by a few strangers over the years.
Okay.
Tell me about the history of that song.
That song, for me, I discovered that song many years ago by the Stanley Brothers. They did a version of it, but it was quite a country bluegrass sort of version of it. And then I heard Bob Dylan do an arrangement of it, and his version was really moody, and it had his croaky little voice in it, and it was just quite atmospheric and really hit the mark. And I thought, I really want to sing this song, and I discovered it, and I looked at the lyrics, and it's just an old folk song. It's an old Americana folk song, and I don't actually think really we know where it actually came from or who actually put the lyrics to it or wrote it. But the story is basically a song about a soldier from the Civil War in America returning to his hometown and not knowing anybody anymore, or anybody knowing him. All new faces. His family have up and have left or been killed in battle, or his friends he's lost in battle. So he's actually going home, and he's going home as a stranger in his own town.
It's incredibly moving, and it's incredibly long. And what I love about this album is it's not overproduced. Some people would say there's rough edges. I call it you ad-libbing. It's beautiful, the fact that we're just hearing your voice and a great band. It's not like sort of an Il Divo album where it's produced to hell.
That's exactly what we wanted to try and capture on it, on the album itself, was the rawness of the process of creating music. It's so important that for me is to be real and to be genuine with my music and with the way that I sing. The beautiful thing about Rank Strangers was, I'll tell you the whole process about recording that track, was that the band and the orchestra, we only had a small string section, not even an orchestra. We had a small string section and a brass section. We had some backing singers and a 4-piece band. I spent more time during the week with the band. The orchestra were just like an afternoon here and an afternoon there. But they hadn't heard the song Rank Strangers before we recorded it. And I didn't want them to hear it. So basically I started singing the song a cappella, without any accompaniment, and I let everybody join in as they felt was right.
You know, I think you're magnificent, and I saw you at Clumber Park this summer, and I said 6 months ago that you're the world's greatest tenor at the moment, possibly in history. I think you're going to be as big as the Pavarottis, certainly as big as Andrea Bocelli in years to come. And I think this will be a seminal moment for you with this album, because it's very different. It's a bit country, it's a bit blues. It's certainly not like your previous albums.
No, I mean, I sort of don't class myself as a opera singer anymore, or as a classical singer. I like to just be known as a singer, because once you give yourself a title of a classical singer, then you're sort of putting yourself in a bracket and in a category that stops you from engaging with other genres of music. And it just calling yourself a singer enables you to discover music that you love deep in your heart. Not that I don't love classical music. I love classical music with all my heart, but there's other music out there that I love just as much, and I want to sing.
Don't you find, though, that some of the fartheads in classical music will put you down for this and say you're selling out, when in fact I think you're reaching out to a bigger audience?
Completely. The minute I started making records, it was 8 years ago now, the minute I started making records I got put down for it, because it was like, with the classical industry, it was like, even though I was recording classical music, I sang, my first album was an opera album. I was singing all the classics from all the gems from the operatic operas, but I think in general, if you do try and put yourself out in the public and you're trying to connect with a bigger audience and more of a mainstream crowd, you are going to get criticised to some extent. You know, I'm not saying that it was all like that. I got a lot of support as well, and also it helps if these people in the classical world can see beyond their own importance how artists like myself can benefit the industry. You know,
well, if this album was a Chinese restaurant, I'd be ordering a number 5, a number 6, a number 7, a number 11, and a number 13. They're my favourite tracks.
Bless
I think
you.
If I Can Dream is incredible.
Thank you.
Angie's marvellous. Shine a Light I Can't Help Singing Along With. I mean, these are really back of the shower songs, aren't they? I mean, you're from the north, and I can imagine something like Shine a Light being sung in the back of vans. I mean, these are real hearty numbers, aren't they?
They are. I mean, I'm a huge Stones fan. I'm going to see them soon at the O2. But
that's because you're rich.
Well,
you can afford to.
No, well, I wish, man. I've mortgaged my house for it, so there you go. But no, these are songs pretty much that I used to sing with, you know, listen to in the with my guys, with my mates who were in bands together with, and you know, it was have a beer over, listening to Shine a Light and things like that, and put the Elvis albums on and kick back a little bit, and it's those sort of songs that I've heard for years.
Listen, we've got to be done in about 5 minutes, and I'm never going to get through all these questions, so let's get on with them. Firstly, how's your finger?
Oh my goodness, you saw that then, yeah. That was, I'm blaming...
Everybody saw that, Alfie. Have you not seen YouTube?
I'm blaming... Is it on YouTube already? I'm blaming it on Chris Moyles because he was chopping onions before and he wasn't doing it very well, and I thought, well, you don't chop onions like that, mate. What are you doing? And then I got up and Simon, the chef, gave me an onion to chop. And I was chopping it away, and I thought, well, this is going really well, and I know how to do this. And I looked over at Chris, and I said, hey, mate, look at the way I'm doing it. And then bang, straight into my finger.
We're talking Sunday Brunch last week on Channel 4. There you were, being a smart ass with a knife, and it got the better of you. Proof, never chop on live TV. Keep your chopper away. That's the rule for the future, Alfie.
Always keep my chopper away, mate.
It's a good moral for life. Ask the BBC Press Office. Hey, listen, I only just realised about 3 weeks ago that the first time I saw you was on Broadway in La Boheme.
Yeah, wow.
There was a guy also, I think it was David in Il Divo, who was in that show.
David Miller, yeah.
And it was incredible because it was a show with subtitles for thickos like me that didn't understand Italian. It was marvellous.
Yeah, well, that show was a great show to do, and David, there was myself, David Miller, and a guy called Jesus Garcia who played Rodolfo during the week. So because it was triple cast, because doing 8 shows a week of La Boheme is pretty tough going. You know, you couldn't really do it. But then Jesus dropped out towards the end of the run, and so basically the rest of the shows were split between myself and David. David brought something new to it. I brought a different character to it. Jesus brought a different character to it. But we did have these subtitles up on above the stage. But we'd written those ourselves, basically. We'd come up with sort of like translations that related to today's world in a way. So it wasn't an actual literal translation, it's sort of relative translation, but very close to what we're actually saying on stage.
We've got a million tweets come in from different people who want to ask you a ton of questions. We've got very little time left, so we're going to get through these quickly. Pam wants to know, what was the hardest thing about touring this year? The travel. I think the travel was actually no. This year was pretty cool. Going over the summer. It was good. There was no pressures. There was no difficulty. It was a wonderful tour over the summer, doing all these big festivals. Loved every minute. Jane Ireland wants to know when you're next going down under. It's a bit personal, isn't it?
I'm hoping next year there might be a trip to Sydney, back to Sydney. I don't know how long we'll be there for, but we are planning to come down to Australia very soon.
Very good. And how's baby Alfie, by the way?
He's doing very well. He's not walking yet. He's 11 months old, but he's standing on his own 2 feet now, and also playing my drums.
I was going to say, how's the singing lessons going? I bet you've started him already, haven't you?
He does make quite a noise, I tell you. But the thing that's so impressive is he sits behind my drum kit and holds my sticks and then just belts hell out of it all. It's great to see. It's wonderful.
Margie wants to know, how was the US tour? Did you enjoy it? What was your highlight?
I loved the US tour. The US tour was fantastic. Traveling around the States is quite a pressure because you've got a lot long flights, lots of road travel, and also hurricanes to contend with as well, which we experienced at the end of the tour. The highlights, I think, were just playing the live shows around the States, playing LA, playing San Francisco, Seattle. We played some classic old rock venues as well that smelled like blood, sweat, and whiskey. It was incredible, man. Beautiful
I know
places.
I said this years ago to you, and I stand by what I said. When I saw you in Les Mis, it was incredible. But to see you live on tour this year, you'd got your own character, your personality, but fundamentally, there's a voice that just blows people away. And whether you're singing rock and roll, whether you're singing Elvis, it all sounds as good. There aren't many artists, are there, can stand on a stage and get away with classical opera next to Dream a Dream, next to whatever else you're doing, whether it be Bridge Over Troubled Water off this new album, and it sounds as good. How have you mastered those different genres? Because some people sound silly, don't they?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's just basically that I don't see any division between the music, between the songs, I think if we could throw all the composers in one room and throw in a few bottles of wine and whiskey and drinks and beer, then they'd have a whale of a time. People like Puccini and Mozart and Beethoven alongside Keith Richards and Jagger and the Beatles and stuff like that. It'd be an awesome YouTube clip. That would be wicked. But the thing is the only thing that keeps my sort of music together is my voice. I don't approach a song differently because of what genre it's from or who's sung it before. I just sing it my way, and I just try and put my own mark on it, my own voice on it. I mean, one other guy who does that is that I respect a lot is Robert Plant. He's done lots of different repertoire. He's done a lot of folk, blues, bluegrass, rock, pop, jazz, blues.
You mentioned all those composers. Most of them are dead, so I suppose they're decomposers, aren't they, really?
That's terrible.
What have we got for final question? Maggie wants to know, where do you go next with your albums? What are you going to do next? It seems like anything's possible, isn't it? Is there any song left to record?
Well, I do like to keep those sort of things sort of secret and not to let on too soon about what I'm planning next. But the albums that are out, or the current album, is always an indication of the direction, or there's an indication in there somewhere of where I want to go, whether it's in the arrangement, whether it's in the song, whether it's in the words, whether it's in the style of the approach, whatever. But it's in there that tells you where I want to go and what I want to do next. One thing I can say is that I have started to write some of my own things, but I want to be very careful of that and not to unleash too much of my stuff on the public too soon, just in case they hate it.
But a lot of people, though, when they start writing, they're just not as good as the songs that are already written. You've got to be careful, haven't you?
You have got to be careful, you really have. So I feel that writing in the style of where I am at the moment is always the best sort of way.
I'll tell you what, send me your songs first. I'll have a listen and let you know whether they're worth putting on an album, because we don't want any duffers, do we? We don't want anybody switching off.
Exactly, thank you.
One word answer. Karen says, will you be back in Les Mis at any point?
Maybe.
Okay, good answer. Politically correct as well. Won't offend anybody. Hey, listen, once again, we've talked. I haven't got to one question, so thanks for that. Spent all this time writing all loads of questions, and we've chatted so much. No time left for that. This new album, Storyteller, I think is phenomenal. When I have it on in my car and stay with it, I know it's good. If I Can Dream is marvellous. Shine a Light's fantastic. And, of course, Rank Strangers to me is probably the best track I've heard this year on any album. Alfie Boe's Storyteller's out now. Your new book's out as well, and you're on tour next year doing arenas. Did you ever think it would be this good and this successful?
I'm thrilled, man. I'm a very lucky man, but I don't take it for granted. Thank you to everybody that supported me out there. Really appreciate it.
Very finally, let's hear your voice. Just one little bar of something like, if you could say Alex Belfield's Man Boobs in your big classical voice, would you do that for us as we leave this interview?
Alex Barfield's Man Boobs. How's that?
Oh, marvellous. You made my day. Alfie Boe, big star, one of my favourite people. And
that is the strangest thing I've ever had to do in my career. You realise that?
You want to wait till we meet in person. Alfie Boe, congratulations. Coming to see you next year in your arena tour. You get better and better and better, and congratulations on everything. I'm so pleased for you.
Bless you, Alex. Cheers, man.